Security shifted overnight as Prince William confronted a private crisis tied to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the monarchy's future. Advisors moved, calls were sealed, and reputations trembled. What unfolded next reshaped loyalties, raised questions about power, legacy, and who ultimately controls the royal narrative. Prince William was alerted before dawn to developments that insiders say forced rapid coordination across royal offices. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were mentioned in early briefings, not as participants, but as contextual figures in a widening struggle over influence, public trust, and long-term stability. According to reports, a confidential exchange circulated among senior aides outlining concerns about how recent family tensions might ripple through future decisions on titles, duties, and financial arrangements. The message was not intended for public view, yet its tone suggested urgency rather than ceremony. Sources suggest the priority was containment, managing perception while safeguarding institutional continuity. Behind closed doors, advisors debated whether the current balance of power within the family still serves the crown's strategic interests. Some argued that unresolved conflicts risk weakening credibility abroad, particularly in Commonwealth nations where symbolic authority matters. Others countered that decisive, quiet reform could reinforce legitimacy without provoking public confrontation. It's been said that William has grown increasingly focused on modernizing internal processes, aiming to limit distractions and strengthen long-term planning. This approach reportedly includes tighter control over messaging, more selective public appearances, and stricter oversight of partnerships connected to commercial branding. Supporters view this as discipline. Critics privately describe it as consolidation. Prince Harry's position remains a sensitive variable. While official channels maintain a neutral tone, unverified claims point to behind-the-scenes negotiations about boundaries, representation, and the handling of future disclosures. Meghan Markle's media presence, often portrayed as independent, is also considered in these discussions, with aides weighing how her influence shapes narratives beyond palace control. Financial implications sit quietly at the center of the debate. Royal funding structures, private income streams, and the cost of maintaining global relevance are reportedly under renewed scrutiny. Analysts outside the palace note that transparency pressures continue to rise, forcing difficult choices between tradition and adaptation. Within internal circles, the question is not whether reform is necessary, but how visible it should be. Tension is said to have increased after recent polling suggested fluctuating public sentiment toward the monarchy's younger generation. Some strategists interpret the data as a warning that prolonged family discord could erode goodwill built over decades. Others believe the public can tolerate disagreement, provided leadership appears steady and principled. What makes this moment distinctive is the sense of acceleration. Decisions that once unfolded over years are now being discussed in weeks. Staff movements, revised travel plans, and adjusted communication strategies hint at a coordinated recalibration. None of these measures confirm a single dramatic shift, yet collectively they suggest preparation for a more competitive narrative environment. Privately, aides describe William as balancing empathy with restraint, determined to protect both personal relationships and institutional credibility. They claim he recognizes the emotional weight carried by his brother's departure from traditional roles, while remaining firm that the monarchy cannot be shaped by external pressure or social media cycles. Meanwhile, observers note that Prince Harry continues to command attention in American and British media, often drawing focus away from core royal initiatives. This dynamic reportedly complicates long-term strategy, prompting renewed emphasis on consistency, dignity, and controlled transparency. Meghan Markle's projects, from entertainment to advocacy, are similarly assessed for their indirect impact on royal perception. None of these accounts have been officially verified, and palace spokespeople maintain silence on internal deliberations. Still, the pattern of briefings, schedule adjustments, and careful wording indicates a family preparing for consequential decisions. The underlying conflict centers on authority. Who defines a monarchy's future? Who shapes its story? And how far tradition can bend without breaking? As these discussions continue, sources suggest a pivotal phase approaching in the months ahead. What few outside observers realize is that the financial layer of the situation may be the quiet engine driving everything else. Behind ceremonial language and carefully neutral statements, discussions have reportedly shifted toward money, influence, and long-term sustainability. Sources suggest Prince William has been reviewing funding structures with an unusually sharp lens, not as a public gesture, but as a strategic necessity. The monarchy's modern relevance, global presence, and philanthropic commitments depend on a system that must now withstand increased scrutiny, rising costs, and shifting public expectations. According to reports, private assessments have examined how commercial partnerships, royal estates, and media-linked ventures intersect with the family's public image. The concern is not simply revenue, but perception. Financial independence can imply freedom, yet it can also blur lines between service and self-interest. Prince Harry's independent income streams, media agreements, and high-profile projects are frequently cited in internal conversations. While official narratives emphasize cordial distance, unverified claims indicate that his financial autonomy has become a case study in both opportunity and risk. Some advisors reportedly worry it creates a parallel power structure outside traditional oversight. Meghan Markle's ventures are also viewed through this lens. Her brand, visibility, and cultural reach extend beyond royal convention, and sources suggest palace strategists have debated how her influence shapes broader perceptions of the family, not as an adversary, but as a figure who operates under different incentives. These financial conversations reportedly carry a deeper implication. Control. Who decides which projects align with royal values? Who benefits from proximity to the crown? And how does the institution protect itself from appearing commercially driven while still remaining economically viable? As these questions circulate, reputational concerns begin to surface. Money, after all, is rarely just money in royal contexts. It becomes a symbol of priorities, discipline, and moral authority. According to insiders, Prince William has grown increasingly cautious about public optics. Every partnership, appearance, and endorsement is said to be evaluated for its long-term impact rather than short-term attention. The objective appears to be quiet credibility, not constant visibility. Meanwhile, Prince Harry continues to occupy an ambiguous space in public consciousness. Neither fully inside nor entirely outside the royal narrative, his presence reportedly complicates messaging. Some advisors believe his independent path highlights institutional rigidity. Others feel it exposes vulnerabilities the monarchy would rather keep invisible. Reputational risk, in this context, is not limited to scandal. It includes erosion of trust, narrative fragmentation, and the slow dilution of symbolic authority. Sources suggest that William sees reputation not as image management, but as infrastructure, something that must be maintained before cracks become visible. Meghan Markle's media presence reportedly adds another layer of complexity. Her ability to frame personal experiences in global platforms can influence sentiment far beyond traditional royal channels. While none of this is confirmed by official sources, it is widely said a factor into internal strategic planning. As reputational considerations intensify, the conversation appears to shift from individual figures to the institution itself. It's been said that recent internal memos explore whether existing structures are equipped to handle modern pressures. Not merely public relations, but governance, accountability, and adaptability. There are unverified claims that small procedural reforms are already under review, adjustments to how decisions are communicated, subtle shifts in who holds influence behind closed doors, quiet experiments in reducing friction between tradition and transparency. What makes this moment delicate is that every institutional change carries symbolic weight. Even minor reforms can be interpreted as weakness, renewal, or quiet revolution. Sources suggest that William is acutely aware of this, balancing progress with continuity. The monarchy, long defined by ritual and restraint, now faces an environment shaped by rapid media cycles, global commentary, and heightened expectations of openness. Institutional confidence, once assumed, must increasingly be earned through consistency rather than mystery. Yet beneath financial calculations, reputational strategy, and institutional recalibration lies a deeper undercurrent, one that advisors are said to approach with particular caution. Because beyond money, beyond image, and beyond structure, the decisions being considered may ultimately determine how the monarchy defines its legacy in the years ahead. What has remained largely hidden is how far these institutional conversations may already extend. Beyond surface-level reforms, insiders suggest a deeper examination of how power flows within the monarchy itself. Reports claim Prince William has been weighing whether long-standing internal hierarchies still serve their intended purpose, not in a dramatic overhaul, but through quiet recalibration. Who advises the sovereign, who shapes strategy, who ultimately decides how the monarchy responds when pressure mounts. According to sources, recent discussions have explored limiting informal influence and formalizing decision-making channels that were once guided by tradition rather than structure. The aim, reportedly, is not to centralize control for its own sake, but to reduce uncertainty in moments when speed and coherence matter. Prince Harry's separation from the traditional framework is often referenced as a turning point. His departure is said to have exposed gaps in governance, areas where expectations were assumed rather than clearly defined. Some advisors argue this revealed a need for clearer boundaries. Others privately admit it revealed a need for deeper introspection. Meghan Markle's global visibility continues to factor into these institutional concerns. Her ability to shape narratives outside royal systems reportedly challenges how the monarchy maintains narrative authority, not through confrontation, but through contrast. One side bound by restraint, the other by independence. Within internal circles, the question has shifted from how to manage individual relationships to how to future-proof the institution itself. It's been said that William is less focused on short-term harmony and more on ensuring the monarchy remains functional decades from now, regardless of personal dynamics. There are unverified claims that advisory roles are being reviewed for relevance and loyalty. Some positions may be redefined, others may quietly fade in influence. The goal, according to insiders, is coherence. Fewer conflicting voices, fewer reactive decisions, more deliberate, unified direction. At the same time, officials are said to be analyzing how younger royals will fit into this evolving structure, not just in terms of public duty, but in authority, responsibility, and narrative positioning. The next generation is no longer seen simply as heirs, but as variables in a rapidly changing landscape. Prince William's leadership style is often described as measured but increasingly firm. Supporters suggest he recognizes the risk of stagnation. Critics suggest he risks appearing distant. Both interpretations reportedly inform how he navigates internal reform, aware that every move could be framed in multiple ways. Behind the scenes, institutional memory looms large. Past crises, abdications, scandals, and public backlashes are said to be studied as cautionary case studies. The intent is to avoid repeating moments when the monarchy reacted too late, spoke too little, or underestimated public sentiment. Yet institutional change carries emotional weight. It affects family dynamics, personal loyalties, and generational expectations. Sources claim there is tension between preserving unity and enforcing clarity, between honoring history and preparing for a future that may not respect it as deeply. As these structural considerations unfold, advisors reportedly return to a central concern: legacy. Not legacy as reputation, but legacy as architecture. What kind of monarchy will remain when today's principles are no longer at its center? Prince Harry's long-term role, Meghan Markle's ongoing influence, and Prince William's emerging authority are all said to intersect in this broader question. Each represents a different vision of power, voice, and public engagement. None of these visions has been officially endorsed, yet all shape internal debate. What makes this stage more consequential than previous ones is its permanence. Financial shifts can be adjusted, reputational waves can fade, but institutional decisions tend to endure, shaping decades rather than news cycles. And as these deeper structures are quietly examined, another layer of uncertainty begins to surface. Because beyond institutional reform lies an even more sensitive issue: how this evolving system will define the monarchy's legacy when the current generation steps aside. What few within royal circles are willing to discuss openly is how deeply these decisions may shape the monarchy's long-term legacy. Not just how it functions, but how it will ultimately be remembered. According to unverified accounts, Prince William has begun thinking beyond immediate stability and toward historical consequence. The question is no longer how to manage current tensions, but how future generations will judge the choices being made now, whether they will see preservation, transformation, or quiet decline. Prince Harry's continued distance from the institution reportedly serves as a constant reminder of what happens when personal identity collides with inherited duty. Some insiders suggest William views his brother's path as both cautionary tale and mirror, a demonstration of how quickly narrative control can shift once a royal steps outside the system. Meghan Markle's role in shaping global perceptions of the family remains a factor in these long-term considerations. Her ability to influence cultural conversation is said to challenge traditional royal authority in subtle but meaningful ways, not through direct opposition, but by redefining what power and relevance look like in the modern age. Within palace strategy discussions, legacy is increasingly framed as a battle between continuity and evolution. Sources suggest some advisors advocate for bold modernization, arguing that public loyalty must be earned through transparency and adaptability. Others warn that moving too quickly risks dissolving the mystique that gives the monarchy its symbolic strength. Prince William is reportedly positioned at the center of this tension, balancing reverence for tradition with an awareness that public expectations have shifted. Supporters describe his approach as pragmatic. Critics, in private, suggest it borders on emotional restraint at a time when empathy could carry strategic value. The role of Prince Harry in the monarchy's eventual historical narrative remains unresolved. Will he be remembered as a reformist voice, a disruptive force, or a misunderstood figure shaped by circumstance? It's been said that internal debates increasingly factor in how a story intersects with William's, and what that contrast might represent to future historians. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's public identity continues to evolve independently. Some royal commentators believe her legacy will unfold outside the monarchy's control entirely, influencing how the broader family is interpreted in retrospect. Whether this influence is viewed as empowering or destabilizing may depend on how events unfold in the coming years. Behind the scenes, there are reports of long-term planning documents that extend decades into the future. These reportedly explore how the monarchy should present itself to younger generations, how to sustain relevance in a digital world, and how to manage inevitable shifts in public sentiment. What makes this moment especially delicate is that legacy cannot be revised once it solidifies. Financial decisions can be reversed. Reputational damage can be repaired. Institutional reforms can be refined. But historical memory, once formed, tends to harden into narrative. Insiders claim Prince William is acutely aware of this, weighing not only political consequences, but moral ones. How far can he reshape the institution without betraying its foundations? How much restraint is necessary to protect its dignity? And how much change is required to prevent it from becoming obsolete? Prince Harry's independence, Meghan Markle's cultural influence, and William's emerging authority are increasingly viewed as three forces that will define how this era is remembered. Each represents a different vision of voice, power, and legacy. None can be fully controlled. All must be carefully accounted for. As these long-term questions intensify, there's a growing sense that the monarchy is approaching a defining chapter, not one marked by a single dramatic event, but by a sequence of calculated choices whose impact may only become clear with time. And as those choices edge closer to becoming irreversible, a final test of loyalty, identity, and historical consequence begins to take shape. What ultimately defines this moment is not a single decision, but the cumulative weight of choices now converging. The monarchy, long sustained by tradition and patience, appears to be entering a phase where hesitation itself carries risk. According to sources, Prince William is approaching a point where strategic planning gives way to decisive action. Not publicly, not dramatically, but through subtle shifts that, over time, could reshape how power is exercised and perceived. The aim, reportedly, is to stabilize the institution before external pressures force more reactive change. Prince Harry remains an unresolved presence in this equation. Though physically distant from royal operations, his narrative continues to influence how the public interprets the family's internal dynamics. Some advisors believe his story will eventually require a reckoning, not for reconciliation's sake, but for historical clarity. Others suggest leaving it unresolved preserves strategic distance. Meghan Markle's influence persists as an external counterweight to traditional royal messaging. Her independence, platform, and cultural relevance reportedly factor into long-term reputational forecasting. Whether her legacy runs parallel to monarchy or intersects with it in more complex ways remains an open question within strategic circles. behind closed doors, there are unverified claims of contingency planning that extend beyond routine governance. Discussions reportedly touch on how to manage future leadership transitions, how to safeguard institutional credibility in a polarized media environment, and how to maintain coherence as generational attitudes toward monarchy continue to evolve. At the center of it all, Prince William is said to carry a growing awareness that leadership now means authorship, the authoring of tone, of direction, of the story future generations will tell about this era. Supporters describe his posture as composed and forward-looking. Critics, privately, argue that such composure risks emotional distance at a time when relatability carries political value. Yet those closest to the situation claim William understands that overt emotionality can undermine authority. His challenge, according to insiders, is to project steadiness without appearing detached and resolve without appearing inflexible. In an age of constant scrutiny, even silence becomes a message. Prince Harry's long-term relationship with the institution remains undefined, but its symbolic impact is already embedded in the monarchy's modern identity. Meghan Markle's role in shaping broader cultural narratives continues to expand beyond royal boundaries. Together, they represent forces the monarchy cannot fully control, only respond to. As legacy planning advances, sources suggest the monarchy is preparing for a future where reverence is no longer automatic, loyalty is more conditional, and public patience is thinner than in previous generations. Adaptation, once optional, is increasingly framed as survival. There is also an emotional dimension rarely acknowledged publicly. Family relationships strained by duty, private regrets, quiet resentments, unspoken reconciliations that may never come. These human factors, while rarely visible, reportedly influence decisions more than official statements ever reveal. What emerges from these accounts is not a picture collapse, but a recalibration under pressure, a monarchy attempting to evolve without losing itself, a family balancing personal history against institutional necessity, a future being shaped by individuals who understand that every step now carries symbolic weight. As Prince William's influence continues to solidify, and as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle remain enduring reference points in the public imagination, the monarchy moves toward a moment that will likely define how this chapter is remembered, not as a single scandal, not as a dramatic rupture, but as a quiet transformation, unfolding decision by decision, with consequences that may echo long after the current generation has stepped aside. And in the end, the most enduring question may not be who holds power, but how that power chose to define its legacy.